Welcome back to the latest episode of Extra Time with Girls on the Ball, coming to you live from the Dominican Republic, the Under-17s FIFA Women's World Cup, and our coverage is supported by Xero. I'm Rachel.
I'm Sophie.
And this is Extra Time with Girls on the Ball. Okay, we're back, Soph, and what a game we have.
Have we recovered yet?
I don't think we have. It's been a fun couple of days since England's first match against Kenya, where they won 2-0. We've done a few things. We've spoken to the Dominican Republic manager, we spoke to New Zealand manager, had a really cool tour of FIFA's analysis and technical stuff that they've got going on, which was really, really fun. But I think the highlight of this week has definitely been this game. England won 4-2, of course, but they did go down to 10 players. They were 2-1 down at one point, and it all went a bit mad in the final kind of 10 minutes. As you say, I don't think we've fully recovered, and I think we're just going to get straight into it because I just feel like anything else is just fluff, and this game deserves to be spoken about first and foremost right at the beginning of the episode. And I will say that data stuff, we have some interesting stuff coming out, so it is worth making sure you're subscribed to wherever you listen to your podcast, to our YouTube and across our channels as well, so you don't miss any of the extra stuff that we're going to be putting out over the coming weeks. But this game, let's just run through it. Right, so we had 6 goals.
We did.
We had a red card. We had 5 yellow cards. There were, I think, 33 fouls in total across this game, which is absolutely ridiculous. Start of the game, opening kind of 10, 15 minutes, I remember messaging you and I was like, bearing in mind Mexico had lost the first game, I was like, the Mexico team were really good. England were struggling really to get on the front foot. They were kind of pegged back. Mexico got a goal that wasn't initially.
Yes.
Another one.
Yes. I think, Mexico started really strongly. I think they really threatened from those set pieces. And that kind of first, 6 minutes, the goal that was disallowed came in the 6th minute, came off a free kick. And it wasn't quite dealt with by the keeper, by Eva Spencer in goal. And it just, I think, put a lot of doubt maybe into the Young Lionesses' minds a little bit. That early in the game, they just couldn't quite get their grip on proceedings. And Mexico were good. They scored from another set piece, a great header, but it was a delivery from a set piece as well. And they just really struggled to deal with that kind of aerial ability in that first moments.
Well, what was interesting was that, Mexico got this initial goal that wasn't. And if you were tuned into the WSL at all this week and saw the Hannah Hampton goal that wasn't or was, or whichever side of the line, pardon the pun, that you sit on, and we almost had an identical situation there. And as you said, that happened in the 6th minute. But then England scored almost less than 5 minutes after that. And you kind of thought, okay, they've got their grip on this game now. It's going to be okay. But then Mexico, 6 minutes later, equalised with that, as you said, that long ball in. It was a lovely goal.
It was a lovely, lovely goal from Salas.
Yeah.
Yes, I think, I guess conversely to in contrast to the WSL, definitely the use of technology in this tournament was a lifesaver for England in that moment, because it was the technology that ruled the goal that was given, not given. So you definitely saw the sort of value in that instance. I think it was, I don't even know what happened in that first 20 minutes, to be honest. It was all a bit...
Well, we will get on to this technology that you're discussing, because yes, it saved England in the beginning, but my God, I thought it was going to be the death of me by the end of this match. But just to run through it quickly, because, they went in at the break 1-1, and then Mexico got a penalty in the 50th minute, saved, looked like great save, and then the technology ruled that she had stepped off her line, had to be retaken. Mexico scored the penalty, Mexico 2-1. Then we had, in the 57th minute, Junaid sent off for a red card. Now, we don't have the benefit of replays in the stadium, so we didn't actually see what happened. And at the time, it looked really quite innocuous.
Yes, it did. I remember watching the Mexican player forward go down, going, I think she just got caught there. I didn't see too much in it. And then I saw the Mexican manager waving at the referee about to review, a little referral, I think. And yes, they went to the screens and they decided to centre off. Now, having had the benefit of replay, I do not see how on earth that is a red card. She catches her, but it's totally unintentional. Maybe a yellow card at best. I don't know how you can send her off for that with no intent. There was literally no intention in the challenge. It was
a coming together of like three players.
She caught her Achilles.
Yeah, two England players and the Mexican player. And they kind of all came together around the ball. And in the process, Janae kind of, her studs caught the back of her heel, kind of stepped on the back of her heel, her Achilles. So yeah, I probably would say a yellow card. But a red card is a straight red as well is incredibly harsh.
Yeah, and I think the problem in that situation is because the ref has gone to the monitor and made the decision, you can't then ask her to review that decision because she's not going to go back and watch she's just seen on the the monitor and stuff on the screen. She's not going to change her mind. She's made that decision by seeing that. I think I would wonder if England will put in a review over the next 24 hours to try and get Matara back out, and because otherwise she's going to miss a good portion of this tournament, and that's heartbreaking for her.
Especially
she's such a core element to that English midfield as well. And I just don't think it warranted a red card, a straight red at that. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll touch on the refereeing afterwards because there was a distinct difference between, say, the refereeing of the first game that we noticed and the refereeing of this game. But we will get into it because I want to just quickly run through how the game then played out. And it did feel a little bit like you could tell England were not kind of sitting back. We're not going to accept kind of being 2-1 down. They're absolutely pushing and fighting to get a goal. I did feel there was a little bit of franticness at times. It's understandable. You're in a situation. It felt like they were in a situation that no one was really prepared for. It was very bitty. Everything was being called as a foul. Every kind of coming together was being called as a foul. The Mexican players, they didn't need to, but definitely, I think England were just a bit too honest. The Mexican players would kind of make a meal of a lot of contact and got free kicks for almost everything. Actually, I don't think they needed to do that. I think Mexico were very good in possession. Their passing accuracy was very good. They were very good themselves technically. I don't actually think they needed to do that. But it really just broke up the momentum.
But it disrupted the flow, and it gave England no chance to get any rhythm or any build-up. So every time they started to look maybe like they were on the front foot, there'd be a stop in the game or a pause in the play, and it was a real momentum breaker.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of opportunities in that first half where they broke forward on the transition or broke forward on the long ball. They had good chances, but then they wouldn't be able to back that up with the next play because there would be something else that came in to interrupt the flow of the game, and it just became really, really stop-start, itty-bitty, quite hard to watch at times.
It wasn't enjoyable, yeah.
It was a thrill. When you look back on it in hindsight, it was an absolutely thrilling game. I think the last 20 minutes or so and how England ended it made it all the more thrilling. But I think when you look at it quite holistically, it was a real hard watch. It was difficult at times. I just remember having my head in my hands in the press box.
I kept sitting down.
What is going on? This is absolutely mad game.
The second half, I was standing with my camera, and I think I must have sat down 5-6 times because I was like, my cameras are heavy, and the stop, start, player down for injury. Also, the ref would call on the physios before she even got to the player. Do you know what I mean? And normally it's they're going to go over and check, do you need the physio before yes or no? But they were on every single time, which then further delayed every single stoppage. But I think credit to England in terms of they were honest. They weren't looking for frees, which they probably would have gotten. They were very calm from where I could see on the sideline as well.
I think when
respect to that.
Maybe if you didn't watch the game and you saw the number of yellow cards maybe and the red card, you would think they lost their heads a bit. But they totally didn't. No. They were so mature in the way that they dealt with all of the problems that came up against, both on the sideline and, as you say, on the sideline and on the pitch. I think there's such a young group of players, and to be able to not let that. They were finding it tricky to get through it, but they weren't letting it irritate them to the point where they rose up against it or they had flashpoints. And I think that was really mature.
Not losing their head was key to turning this game around. And so, we're at this red card situation. England are down to 10. They're 2-1 down. And Nelly Lass, in the 61st minute, gets up, gets herself a back post like that. It was such an instinctive finish for a defender. She had an excellent game, I thought.
She did. It was all made by the direct running of Lauren Thompson, who came on and made an impact.
Wonderful player.
Once again. And she just decided that even with England having 10 players on the pitch, that she'd just go for it. And she just drove down the left-hand side, delivered a perfect ball, and Nelly was making that run in at the far post, which is exactly what you want her to be doing. And that just changed the whole momentum flow of the game, because it just looked for a while that England were just going to have to...
There was some time wasting.
Yeah, no, but they were going to have to settle, it was going to be a real struggle to even find another goal. And I think the way that happened, the driving run, the speed with which it happened, just all influenced the change of the next 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, I thought Lauren Thompson was excellent again. She really took the game by the scruff of the neck. And like you said, it was almost like she didn't care that they were 10 down. She was going to run after absolutely everything. I thought she was brilliant. And yeah, the way Nelly just went straight into the goal, picked for the ball, back to the halfway line, no celebration. It's only 2-2. We got to go and win this now. And it did definitely change the momentum shift in that final kind of 20 minutes.
It did. And sometimes you actually have this. When you go down to 10 players, you play with a lot more freedom or a lot more less restrictions than what you were playing with before. And you're like, because all of the rules kind of go out the window a little bit in a way in terms of formation or structure.
Especially if you're losing.
Or everything that you've prepared for. It's just one of those things where sometimes you can't prepare, as Natalie Henderson said to me afterwards. But it's I think especially the second goal, I really like that. England's third goal, Rachel Maltby's goal.
Yes.
In the 88th minute. I really like that because suddenly Rachel Maltby, playing fullback all game, finds herself in the centre forward position. And that's just instinctive. That's just, despite what Nat said to me after the game about it being planned, I know you were joking. She found herself suddenly from in the centre forward position and just going on instinct to get onto the end of Nelly's cutback.
Nelly, again, there was two of them running for the ball and there was no getting in her way. She was getting to that ball before it got to the end line. She was sending her cutback, really good cutback. Rachel was free in the box and a great instinctive finish. Wonderful celebrations. Suddenly they were 3-2 up. This is the 88th minute. Knowing that there wasn't that long to go, I mean, bloody hell, there was 10 minutes of injury time. So part of me did think, Christ, this is going to be stressful. But brilliant finish. And then they kept their foot on the gas. There were times they were trying to delay, slow down the play, understandably. And I know Nat on the sideline was saying, play it into the corner. But the fact that they then went and got another goal, a fourth goal, Olivia Johnson was sent on. I could see Nat talking to her on the sideline. And, there was a really nice moment between them after the game as well, because she came on and what an impact she had. She absolutely put the game to bed. There was, almost the final kick of the game.
Well, given that she wasn't actually meant to be at this tournament, Denny Draper got injured in the pre-camp. And so Olivia Johnson was a late replacement for her. And to come on and have that kind of impact, in injury time, to really make sure that your team go, I know they were winning 3-2, but you're still in quite a nervous state, especially with 10 players on the pitch. It's going to be a bit nervy for her to come on and relieve that kind of pressure and make sure of the victory with the kind of confidence and the turn that she did, I think was amazing.
Yeah, so amazing finish to that game, 4-2, and qualified for the quarterfinals as well with a game to spare. They are going to be facing North Korea in their final game, our Wednesday, your Thursday midnight.
I would just add that just the character, I think there is so much that shows so much about a team, is that kind of character, that willingness to dig in and fight for each other, and that kind of grit. And you can have all of the quality in the world, and England do have quality, but I think you have to back that up with character, because quality doesn't always win your games. You have to be able to dig in when your backs are up against the wall, and that just will stand them in such good stead probably for the future.
Absolutely. And you of course spoke to Natalie Henderson after the match about the match, which I can only imagine was one of the longest matches of her life, and about them qualifying, and here's what she had to say.
Hey Nat, congratulations, a World Cup quarter-final, but that was some game, wasn't it?
Yeah, some game indeed. I think really hard to process right now. Certainly feel very proud of the players. Certainly wasn't an easy game, but we talk about this team wanting to overcome challenges, wanting to find a way to show character, to work hard for each other, and I certainly feel like that came out tonight.
When you have all of the things thrown at you, it's a real learning curve, I guess, in that match, going down to 10, going behind as well, and coming back from that. That must give you so much pride in the character of the show.
Yeah, so much pride. I think you can always have a plan, and it can never go to plan, or there can certainly be things that get thrown at you. I think the way the girls dealt with the game and overcame them challenges, the way they dug in deep at the end to get over the line was so important, and I think we can use this momentum moving forward. But we talk about a team that wants character and wants to find a way, and I think that is the perfect game to show that that's who we are and that's what we do.
You touched on it there as well about Rachel Maltby, about her being so far up. I think there's such a bravery to see, two defenders coming together to get that goal that puts you ahead when you're 10 players down. You're towards the end of the match. Incredible bravery. And you did ask her about that, about finding herself so high up the pitch. She spoke really well actually after the match, and what a dream it was to not only be at a World Cup, but to actually then qualify for the quarterfinals as well. And here's what she had to say.
Hey Rachel, congratulations today. How does that win feel?
Feels amazing. First of all, to qualify for a quarterfinal for World Cup is an amazing achievement. I mean, getting to a World Cup in itself is difficult, but to reach a quarterfinal is just something that I've dreamed of and the team has worked so hard for. So to be able to achieve that is just amazing.
And that goal, will that moment live with you forever?
Of course, yeah. Two of my friends told me that they think I was going to score today. And then when it hit the back of the net, especially when we were 10 men against 11, and it was a couple last minutes, it felt just unreal. I didn't know what I was doing. I felt like I was dreaming.
Did you expect to be that far forward?
Not really, but we got told to play with freedom, movement, and I saw the gaps and the opportunity to rotate and get myself in the box, and I mean, it paid off. So
Yeah, so a crazy game in all. I said we're going to touch on the refereeing, and I don't like to bash on referees, not a fan of that, but I did think, it was something we actually touched on in the first game, where we were like, there's stuff that's being let go to allow the game continue to flow. And we really appreciated that. We thought it was refed really well. Because sometimes I think at youth tournaments, sometimes it's refed like it's a youth tournament, I think. Does that make sense? And there was a moment where there was two players running up towards the end line, and it was not even a harsh coming together of shoulders, because neither player actually moved out of position. They just kind of came together to get the ball.
50-50. Absolute
50-50. And it was a free kick against England and a free out for Mexico. You had Erica Parkinson sliding in for a chance. She managed to get a shot off in the box. Her shot didn't go anywhere near the goal, and it was a free out for Mexico.
The keeper.
The keeper, yeah,
on the shot.
Because the keeper smothered the shot, but she just about managed to get her shot away, and the keeper smothered it, free out. And there were moments in the game where you were just like, to the point where I couldn't actually like restrain myself from going on the sideline, what is going on? I was literally talking to myself because there was nobody around me. I was like, what was that for? Why is that a free? What is happening? So it did feel like any sort of contact was just being punished every single time.
I think it's how different refs referee games as well. But I also think it's probably part of the thing of being at a youth tournament as well. You are getting refs who haven't been in these situations before necessarily.
Yeah, and that brings us nicely onto the technology side of things. Now, as I said, we are going to give you some more insight into the technology side of things at a FIFA tournament later, and it is fascinating. But this one was driving me mad a little bit because we have the VAR Lite, and it does mean that things can get checked relatively quickly. There are screens on field for the referee to go over and check things. You've also got both teams having 2 referrals, a bit like tennis. And if you get the referral right, you hold on to your referral. It felt like there must have been, I think I counted 7 referrals. And then you had to factor in the goal line, was it a goal or not? You had to factor in the penalty retake. So it felt like it felt like we didn't get even 2 or 3 minutes of consistent play without it stopping. And the amount of referrals, it almost felt like it was being taken advantage of in some way.
I think you can see it 2 ways, right? Because you could say that was happening, but equally the referrals were being successful. And so maybe it was good spots by the Mexican, certainly the Mexican side, the referrals were successful. I think for the red card, they obviously thought it was, and the ref thought it was. Arguably, maybe on review it wasn't, but I guess you might as well throw in the card and see what happens. And if it turns out to be your day or the decision that the referee is going to make, then that's going to be the case. I think you got to see it later on. I think it was Erica Parkinson who broke into the box, and she went down under pressure. And I think that was I don't think maybe in any other circumstance Natalie Henderson would probably thrown the card in to review that, but that was reviewed. It wasn't a penalty.
Yeah, I messaged you straight after and said I don't know that's a pen.
Yeah. But I think in those kind of situations,
you may as well roll the dice, right? Like if things are being given, it's
being done on the other side as well. So why not?
But my God, it was. I think that's what made the game difficult to watch, was that it was just, and I can't imagine what it was like to play, because you just can't get a rhythm going in any way, shape, or form. But it just did feel like that you could barely get 2 or 3 minutes without it being stopped.
But having said that lasted 20 minutes. There was a whole lot of rhythm going on for
Oh,
England.
yeah.
And England completely took the rhythm, and they took the game by the scruff of the neck, and they just went with it, I think, and just went with the chances.
It was a real like exhale when the game ended, because I remember
I had so much adrenaline. I was like bouncing up and down.
you beforehand had thought all England needed was a draw, and your maths wasn't mathsing. So I'm really glad they got the
My
win.
maths never maths.
No, don't trust Sophie's maths. But they got the 2 wins, so it means they face North Korea, who are top of the group, on Wednesday/Thursday, but that they're already through, and that's the main thing. But of course, they'll be going out there to try and win it.
Yeah, you want to finish top to kind of avoid.
Yeah, but another interesting test for them. And I do have to say, like, one of the things that stood out for me is the quality of football across the teams that we've watched. Mexico, Kenya, Ecuador, Dominican Republic. I've been really impressed with the level that all of these teams are at such a young age.
Yeah.
I've been so impressed with that. Like the tactical awareness, the intelligence of play.
It's not no longer kind of hit and hope at times. It's a lot more preparation. You can see how much preparation and thought goes into these games at all different kind of levels, I think.
It's just the fact that they're under 17, you can be forgiven for that maybe not being there yet. But I've just been so impressed across the board.
Standards been really
with
high.
The standards. Yeah, it's been really impressive and really nice to see. We've got more football to watch. We're hopefully going to a game tomorrow, and then we'll have the England game to look forward to. And we'll be having a few chats in between there as well. So as I said, if you're not subscribed, you might miss that, and that would just be terrible. So make sure you are subscribed and that you're following us across all of our channels so you don't miss anything. We are going to attempt to do another matchday report after England versus North Korea. Where that's going to be from, I cannot tell you. It could be the Dominican Republic airport. It could be in
JFK.
New York. It could be on a plane. Who knows? But we will get it done and we will get it out. And that is when we're going to speak to you next. We'll see you soon.